Hey, what is going on, SMT Nation? It's your boy, the SMT. We've got the T-Mobile Q1 Earnings Report 2021. There's so much stuff we can go over here. We're going to talk network. We're going to talk revenue. We're going to talk growth. We're going to talk future plans, guidance, how things played out in the quarter, and then, forward-looking statements. There's so much. Stick with me, bear with me. Maybe consider grabbing something to drink and something to snack on. Hashtag Ravioli Gang as I go through all of the actual factuals from the earnings report. Good old Eugene let it off. Some of the terms that we heard, get thrown around quite a bit. T-Mobile is the 5G company. That's what they're kind of dubbing themselves. Also a highlight of the earnings report and the earnings call. Magenta Max was mentioned like 15 times. So I'll talk more about that as well, but this is probably the thing that was mentioned the most. Eugene characteristically started with some of the lame sauce, corny comments. May the 4th be with you all. The corny MMA joke is some kind of like octagon thing he was talking about. I don't know. So Eugene continues with the corniness and the lame sauce. But anyways, some other things that he drove home, putting customers first, mentioned the merger synergies very early. He mentioned the winning formula of what T-Mobile does. Now, in terms of the wireless stuff, things that we like to focus on, the wireless side, postpaid phone net adds, plus 773,000 net adds. That was industry leading. AT&T 536,000, Verizon losing 178,000, Charter added 300,000, Comcast added 277,000. So those are kind of sort of like Verizon customers in a way because they are MVNOs on the Verizon network. But, clearly T-Mobile industry leader in the phone net adds. Strong financial results from what they claimed. They obviously had growth. They wanted to highlight the network leadership based on the uncarrier DNA, so continuing to drive that point home. Some other things, there were 3 core elements that Eugene wanted to mention. Delivering industry-leading growth. Number 2, enterprise value, merger synergies, the whole business, enterprise, and government agency focus in the future. And then number 3, positioning for 5G leadership, the customer experience, offering ultra capacity on the network, and, different things like that. So, he did claim that network perception, was really changing. Service revenues are starting to show that. T-Mobile claims to have the 5G advantage, which is leading to their best performance overall as a network. Not just in 5G, but they're saying they even have the best LTE network. 1.2 million postpaid net adds in total. The churn rate was 0.98%. This was actually industry worst compared to Verizon and AT&T, but somehow T-Mobile claims that theirs was the industry best. So they're still blaming Sprint for their churn problems. The T-Mobile churn they claim is the lowest in the industry, but they didn't give a number. I'm not sure why that wasn't mentioned. But, so a couple of clear and evident lies there. The churn, the having the best LTE network, all that's just not true. So they're still using Sprint customers as a Sprint brand. They're still not integrated yet into the company, which is kind of weird and concerning. I'm not sure why they're still doing that. They've got 151,000 net adds on the prepaid side, which is actually pretty good. The churn rate is down on the prepaid side at 2.78%. That's really good. And I don't know. They're saying that this might have something to do with the fact that they are the 5G leader, and people are seeing this on postpaid as well as on prepaid. The Magenta Max appears to be the catalyst for switchers. They're seeing that customers on the Magenta Max plans use 40% higher, have 40% higher usage on the network compared to those not on the plans. And I think that number jumps to like 70% when you look at 5G customers, 60 or 70%. They want customers to adopt premium offers. They are encouraged by the adoption of the Magenta Max plan. The perception, the image of their network is catching up to reality. Consumers and businesses are catching it, according to Eugene. Eugene also claims that T-Mobile has the 5G leadership, and they are going to maintain it, regardless of what AT&T and Verizon do or say. He mentioned that they also have C-band, and because of that, they have industry-best portfolio and assets when it comes to spectrum. They mentioned that they commercially launched fixed wireless access during the quarter recently. Home internet is now in 30 million homes. Others, like Verizon, for example, are still in the planning phases. but they didn't really want to disclose anything about the home internet numbers. They mentioned that lines per account grew in a big way. I think this indicates the free line situation. You know, you buy 2, you get 1 free. You know, there are people that have, 10, 12 lines on an account, and there are probably like 3 free ones or so. So I don't know. I'm guessing that's part of their calculus, and they mentioned it. You know, they did say to expect more switching moving forward in the year as customers are going to spend more time in stores and they're going to be spending money, and the switching environment continues. Eugene, actually, something I noticed is he can't really answer many of the questions he should be able to. I think financially he should be able to actually attack that a little bit better. He wasn't really able to answer Sprint questions too much. He's like the CEO that kind of talks about like environment and the models and things like that. He's not really a technical kind of guy. So I think that's kind of something we have to kind of come to grips with. He's not John. John always had his hand, in everything and kind of knew everything within the company. I'm not sure if Eugene's really that type of guy. He's a little bit different. So 2021 guidance increased. They didn't really give specific numbers in terms of money spending and CapEx, from what I could tell, but they did say it was going up. They did also say that the guidance for the customer ads for the year were going to be between 4.4 and 4.9 million, which I think they said was going to be up. They were estimating 4.3 to 4.7. Merger synergy guidance, 20% of Sprint customers are now on the T-Mobile network, so that's essentially doubled since last year. That's good. 50% of Sprint customers' traffic is now on the T-Mobile network, so that's good. So customers are getting on the T-Mobile network and using it more. So that's there. There's going to be a billing migration situation in the future. That's going to be expensive and time-consuming, and I think that's probably also one of the reasons why the marketplace, stocks were down a little bit. I think they see the spending is on its way up. Free cash flow is likely going to increase ahead, but they didn't talk about the free cash flow for this quarter, so I'm guessing it's down, and they're expecting it to improve over time. Investors know this is costly, the things that they're going to have to do. I think that's why the stocks have been down. Earnings at $19.8 billion, $1.3 billion in free cash flow. They blame the merger for all these low numbers, down almost 70% quarter over quarter. The ARPA for postpaid at $132.92 per customer at a $47.30. So it's down a little bit. The ARPA is the focus for what T-Mobile wants to do in the future, deepening the customer relationship. You guys have heard that statement thrown on quite a bit, and that'll continue to be the focus for the company. They mentioned a lot of new accounts. They said the deepening relationships on the accounts with free lines didn't matter. It's a small thing of what they do. I think that's understated completely. Eugene did mention free lines as being not significant. I kind of laughed and chuckled at this because, we do know that there are customer accounts with 2, 3, even 4 unpaid lines. So I don't know how he could really, claim that it's not significant. Verizon and AT&T are quick to, lose customers is what he claims. They're porting negatively, to T-Mobile, which is kind of a lie, actually. We have resources within the community that have looked into these metrics, and that's simply not the case. The negativity of porting out that's clearly overstated. I mean, there are customers coming and going. There is churn within the industry. Accounts are moving, but it's not as he describes it. So I'm not sure what he means. I mean, you look at the churn rates. Verizon's was very low. AT&T's was even a little bit lower. T-Mobile had the highest churn. So I'm not sure where he's kind of doing that thing. T-Mobile's home internet, they didn't want to share any numbers. There were no metrics. They just kept saying they were excited. So that's cool. They want to transition home internet customers to wireless if they have AT&T and Verizon, but they have T-Mobile for home internet. They want to get them on the wireless side too. And again, here's where they mention Magenta Max. It's the reason why they're going to increase guidance and the spending in CapEx and also what they expect in the future. Network-wise, from Neville Ray and the rest of the guys there, 140 million people now have N41 coverage, the 2.5 gigahertz, what they call ultra capacity. The pace is accelerated. By 2021, they're still aiming to hit their mark of 200 million people covered. The average speed is now at, I think, 320 megabits per second, and they do want to transition and start upgrading channel bandwidth to 100 megahertz in the upcoming quarters. Neville said that AT&T and Verizon only have 100 megahertz of C-band in this next 5G upgrade cycle. That's a lie. Verizon has 160 to 200 megahertz in some places. AT&T is like 60 to 80 megahertz in places. I'm not really sure where Neville's getting his numbers, but clearly he's trying to control and twist their narrative to make them look like they're the only ones with assets. So we get that lie sandwich from T-Mobile, which is very characteristic. They give you some truth. They give you some lies. Neville said they're deploying radio gear at a rapid pace. No issues in supply. No issues in smartphones either. So the chip shortage appears to be overstated on some level, whether it's in retrospect to Verizon or T-Mobile. AT&T was claiming this before. I'm not really sure what their situation is. Maybe theirs is different. So I know AT&T voiced concerns, but the other carriers are not. So someone's lying. I just don't know exactly what to think of it. I'm going to lean towards AT&T possibly lying there because T-Mobile's kind of saying no issues, Verizon saying no issues. So that's that. They did confirm that Metro will be moving into T-Mobile stores in a lot of places, rural and suburban. I don't know, they mentioned that a couple of times. Home office internet was mentioned, but they didn't mention any type of growth. They didn't give any numbers. Again, quote, we're excited and everything is going great. So that's all we got. Neville mentioned AT&T and Verizon have not talked about their rural America 5G. I don't know what he needs to hear from them, but they do have a lot of spectrum in those regions. So the 3.7 gigahertz C-band, obviously, they didn't spend $50 billion to just put it in urban America. So I don't know, but they're just, again, they're trying to twist it to make their situation, the industry leading and the best, and the other carriers don't know what they're doing. That's what they're trying to do. Eugene was quoted as saying 5G use cases are not really a thing yet. We're not going to wait around for that. He is on record as saying Magenta Max is the use case for 5G. And then as questions started to get more challenging and tough, Eugene characteristically called it a day and shut it all down. So good job, Eugene. You ended it because you couldn't answer any more questions. So maybe you had to get home and eat dinner or something like that. Anyways, that's everything from the rundown. I didn't really want to give too much of my analysis. I'm going to do more of that tonight with the podcast. The guys will be on. We'll have the usual suspects there. We'll be talking about all the forward-looking statements, all the guidance. We'll look at the metrics. We'll talk about all the ins and the outs, the top, the bottom. We'll go ahead and dig deep into this quarter and the direction of T-Mobile moving forward in the near term and the long term. Go ahead and let me know anything that you wanted to comment on, offer perspective, or your thoughts and opinions on what was said during the earnings, maybe the metrics, the numbers, any of the commentary. Go ahead and sound off in the comment section below. The voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Thank you for taking this opportunity to watch the SMT YouTube channel. If you appreciated this video, give it a like and a share to all your favorite social media platforms. Thank you in advance for that. Also, check out some of the links in the description box. We have the SMT Patreon page. We also have the Twitter handle at SneedTech. And do check out the audio-only podcast available on all the major podcast platforms. And if you are new, have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and activate the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload from the SMT. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace.